Say it in words, there'll be no reason.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Hello and welcome to Talk Africa with me, Jones Sewa. Talk Africa is the program that brings you closer to home by discussing all issues pertaining to Africa. And today in the studio with me, we have Ludwig Nee Jr., who is the CEO of Ashmore International and also GEPS UK. Just to let you know, you can watch us live on Sky Channel 291. We're also streaming live on Facebook, GNTV UK, and also Talk Africa. You can go onto our page there and leave a comment if you want to participate on the issue that we'll be discussing here this morning. Our topic of the day is very interesting because I think everybody can relate to it, and the way things are moving across the world is only right that we have this conversation. It has been said in the past that if you talk about politics, money, religion, it always causes a fight at the dinner table. The question we're posing today is religion still relevant in modern society? Okay, that's what we'll be talking about on our main topic of the day later on in the program. As always, we'll always cut across the continent to see what's been making the headlines from Africa. We'll have Idris Adishina on the line, editor of Alternative Africa, and also political analyst on African affairs. Joseph Ochiano also will be on the line to help us look through the stories making the headlines across the continent. But good morning to you, Ludwig. Glad you can join us this morning.
Thank you.
It's a very interesting topic we'll be discussing later on. I'm sure you're looking forward to it. So let's start with the stories making the headlines here in the UK, Ludwig. And we will start with hands-free deaf driver jailed for 3 years.
Yeah, so this lady here, Samantha Ayers, she's been jailed for 3 years for knocking over, for killing somebody. Hands-free, the headline says, hands-free deaf driver jailed 3 years. So a driver killed a motorcyclist whilst on a hand-free call, got 3 years jail yesterday. A judge blasted Samantha, 34, whose trial was the first to rule the kit was the danger. So now they're saying the kit, having the hands-free kit is the danger. Anyway, the story goes to say for the kit was the danger for being distracted during a 27 phone call. John Pina, QC, said, you weren't paying attention to the road. Many things cause avoidable distraction. In your case, it was the hands-free. I find that quite interesting.
But then it is legal to use hands-free.
No. The kit, hands-free kit. So okay. I don't know if it's hands-free as in attached to the phone or hands-free as in the car, you know, if you've got a Bluetooth device that allows you to connect your phone to your speaker. And your speaker.
So this was when she was trying to fix it hands-free.
What it doesn't say, it doesn't go into that. So it says, obviously, she's killed the motorcyclist, but there's nothing in the story that tells you whether she was trying to fix the hands-free.
So she was so distracted that she actually drove across the other side of the road to hit the motorcyclist.
Right.
Okay.
But I think I don't understand the debate about the kit because it's not clear whether it was the hand-free kit that was plugged into a phone or the legal one, because now the issue now becomes, well, what's legal? You know, so I think there needs to be a bit more context in that. I'm sure for the deceased that they're going to be a bit relieved to know that something has happened, you know, losing their life in, you know, and 3 years not going to compensate that.
The judge did rule that the kit is legal, but it is distracting. I mean, where'd you go from here? Because, there's been adverts circulating. I mean, when the ban came in, that if you're driving, just put your phone away.
Okay. But there's also a legal element that says if you are driving, you can use your kit. So then, I mean, what else can be a distraction to driving? You know, is it going to be that you are listening to the music too much and then you cause a death? So now do you need to turn your radio off? You know, so how far can we go into this? Like I said, I'm not obviously advocating someone's dead, so it's a serious issue. But in terms of what distractions are available. Are we not going to say we need to take billboards down because you are driving and you saw an advert, so you need to take it down? You know, do we need to have blinkers on like horses? You know, because you are driving and because it takes you into different areas that we have never explored before. And some road campaigners will probably say, yes, this is a good thing. We need to make sure when you're driving, that's it. You know, well, you look down to change a gear because and you killed somebody. What do you do? Do we need to drive automatic cars, or is this a new avenue of saying now we need driverless cars? You know, to come in to take control. I don't know where this can go, but certainly for the family, you know, they've got something out of that, and that's always going to be a good thing from that perspective. Yeah. But from the other perspective, where do we go with distractions? Because there's so much distractions.
What I would say is when you're driving, just put your phone away. I'm sure if you need to talk to somebody, you can just pull over, fix your handset or whatever it may be that you're using, and then have your conversation. You can do that.
You can always do that. But what happens when you see that big advert on the billboard?
Don't look. Tunnel vision. Just go straight to wherever it is that you're going. Now, another story that's made the newspapers today. Jihadi plot to attack George. Now, yesterday we found out that there was an attack on Prime Minister Theresa May.
Yes, I didn't actually hear the attack, but I know what the paper is saying, that a terror suspect urged Islamic extremists to target Prince George. The court. So Hussein Rashid, 31, alleged, posted a picture of a 4-year-old next to a silhouette of a jihad fighter online. So I think it's probably more encouraging, you know, a sort of death, or encouraging a plot to do something. But it goes on to say, you know, Hussein sent secret messages to extremists around the world, you know, alleged, as I said, you know, because he's in court right now. And what he was trying to do, he was trying to incite a plot to kill him. He's trying to make sure that, you know, obviously he's taken out. They included details of potential attacks at Wimbledon tennis tournament, Barcelona FC, and a list of British grounds. So he was giving people different addresses or different locations where this can happen. George's parents, William and Kate, will have known about threats to the 4-year-old. So the police were obviously informing them. Ex-Royal Protection Officer Ken, they have lived with this, you know, so they've known about this for a while.
It's the same thing as there was a plot on Theresa May. It was reported yesterday, and we spoke about this yesterday, and I did mention it also came out that the Manchester bomber, it came out that security services and police were aware of him. They could have been prevented.
I was laughing because of the fact that they're always known. Right.
So I was asking yesterday, is it a thing where they tried to restore public confidence in the security services? That's why all this is coming out, that there was a plot on Theresa May. Now there's a plot on George.
Well, I don't think that will restore public confidence, because why is it that the royals are saved? You know, why is it the plot on the royals or high-profile people, they've prevented that, and they've made sure they've taken action to make sure that hasn't gone through. But what about the families of the people of Manchester who were killed? You know, these same terrorists or these same bombers, or they were known to the security services.
I did mention yesterday one of the victims of the Manchester bombing, the parent, was interviewed, and he didn't have any problems with the security services. He just said that, you know, he doesn't blame them for what is happened when the news came out that they knew about the bomber, and this was something that could have been prevented. Anyway, we're going for a quick break. This is Talk Africa with me, John Seward. When we come back, we'll continue with more stories making the headlines. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Are you doing something illegal in there?
No. What? Your lesbian fixation? Huh? You call that a lesbian fixation? It is happening live. I am just coming from their room.
Drama. This cannot continue. We cannot continue hiding our true feelings.
Hey, why are you locking the door?
He who carries the load knows his weight. So what do we do now?
We bang on the door till she opens it.
What the hell is going on?
We just came out of that room, and what we saw there didn't even come close to 2 women.
You know, sometimes
the trap doesn't catch the prey you set it for.
Why Solombe? These girls are becoming troublesome.
Are we supposed to tell our clients to wait so we go buy shampoo? We deliver to our clients irrespective of our challenges.
I shall be back. You won't get rid of me so easily.
Do you know where we are?
And waking up every morning like it's just another day.
We can try again. You have to fight.
I have fought.
Not walk away whilst I'm still talking to you.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Welcome back to Talk Africa with me in the studio. Today we have Ludic Nee Jr., who's the CEO of Ashmore International, also GEPS UK. Before we went on a break, we were looking at stories making the headlines here in the UK. Just to mention, coming later on in the program, we're looking at religion. Is religion relevant in modern day society? I mean, if we look at how things have developed in terms of technology, science, most people have argued that in the past, religion was seen as the end or be all of everything because the people at the time were inept scientifically. So we're asking a question today: is religion still relevant in modern day society? You can watch us live on Sky Channel 291. We're also on Facebook. We're streaming live on Facebook, GNTV UK, and also Talk Africa. If you would like to share your comments, you can do so, and I will read your comments out, okay? So you can go on there right now. We're streaming live. So, Ludwig, let's move on to our next topic, which is drug dealers who use girls were found guilty of slavery.
This is very, very massive for black people.
Yeah.
Because many of the young people who are now
you need to just adjust your microphone.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Yeah.
So many of the young people who are involved in the criminal justice system are being used by older people. And this is really, really brilliant for parents who have got young people who are being threatened to do stuff that they have no control over.
So, who are vulnerable.
Yeah, very, very vulnerable. So drug dealers who used girl are found guilty of slavery. I like that angle because you cannot use the fact that they sold drugs or anything, but it is a recognition that they are using young people. So 2 gang members who used a vulnerable girl to transport their drugs have been convicted under modern day slavery in the landmark case aimed at cracking down on the phenomenon known as county lines. So county lines is when they get drugs from London and they take it to different places in the country. So they're going to, Swansea, Wales, Manchester, Norwich, Brighton. And what they do is that they get young people as young as 12, and they'll say to them, look, you have to do this. So they'll take them, they'll meet them at stations in London, they'll take them to far out places, and they'll be there for like 5 days or something. And what tends to happen is that they'll promise them jobs, they'll give them some drugs to sell, but when the young people get there, they get the young people robbed. So they give them drugs to go and sell. When they get there, they set up the young people to be robbed, and now they owe more money. So now they have to stay there for like 5 days or
to
pay the debt.
Yeah.
And they have houses in these areas. And what tends to happen with the houses is that they use other vulnerable drug dealers. Drug addicts. So they'll give them more drugs for free, and then they'll say, listen, you owe us money, you can't pay, so now we need to stay in your houses. So they've found a way of looping young people from London over there. They get there. They give them like phone numbers, phones to use.
Yeah.
And then they just keep working.
And the thing is, they use young people. Some of the reason is because they know that they will not be stopped and searched by police.
Definitely. So the young people will not be stopped by and searched by police when they're traveling. Young people tend to get lesser sentences, and young people are vulnerable. So they're very impressionable with like mobile phones, money, clothes, tracksuits.
And they know the type of people to target, isn't it?
They know the type of people to target.
The young people to target.
Oh, definitely.
Mostly, some of these kids are from broken homes.
That's it. Single parent families. Mums have got one job or two jobs, so they haven't got time.
Yeah.
There are young people who have got learning needs. Who don't understand the systems very well. So these are the typical people, young people who get targeted. So the two gang members, Mahad Yusuf and Faisal Mahamud, pleaded guilty on Tuesday at Swansea Court to trafficking a young person for the purpose of exploitation under Modern Slavery Act and conspiracies to supply Class A drugs. This will be particularly interesting and useful knowledge for parents to have, because there are many parents whose children are going through this and they don't know how best to report this to the police. But using the Modern Day Slavery Act as a tool, parents can now go to the police and say, look, my child is going missing. And there are many children going missing regularly. But once again, there are no tools or there are no avenues for parents to use. So I think parents, listen, if you know somebody, if you've heard of somebody whose child is going missing and you know there's something going on and you haven't got those powers and you know there's nothing you can do, this angle here is very, very, very important for parents to understand that you can now report these to your to the police, and the police will take on the case now because they have another tool.
Yeah.
Whereas before you need evidence and so on and so forth. What was happening was that these people were sharing messages with the young person on Facebook, on their mobile phones, so they've got a record of these messages. So the detective who led this said, County line investigation said drug supply is not new. However, the exploitation of vulnerable people by a criminal network to move and supply drugs across the country has taken this to a new level. We will prioritize those criminal networks that exploit young people and utilize all legislation available to disrupt their offending. So this is, I think this is brilliant.
Fantastic.
This is brilliant.
And finally, let's move on to our final story before we move on to story making the headlines across the continent. There's a story in The Guardian with regards to Ed Sheeran going to Liberia for comic relief, which has backfired.
Yes. So I think the whole aid thing going on in Africa, people are now starting to look at it with a different eye. And I think Akufo-Addo said something that, Africa in itself has got enough resources to be looking after its own affairs. Ed Sheeran is doing a campaign in Liberia. That's backfired. But there was also a campaign from Africans who did a campaign to buy radiators for Norway.
This was I think a few years ago.
Yeah. And I think as black people, African people, we don't tend to actually look at these things. But they're saying, look, we are in a warm country. Our country is warm. We're seeing people freezing, snowing. You need basic heating.
Yeah.
And we are going to give you some money to buy radiators. People didn't take it seriously. I guess it's because it's coming from Africa to Europe. But the flip side is that the Europeans going to Africa to say that we need aid, it's now being looked at differently, because what's happening is that, for example, when you go out there and they look at the need for those people that they are talking about, it's tarnished completely with one brush. It's not looked at in the context of saying maybe this particular area has got people that are hungry because of that. Maybe they've got a dictator in there.
They're not looking at the root cause of it.
They're not looking at the root
because
cause.
I think what people were against it was the fact that they're still promoting the narrative that the white man is the savior of Africa.
Yes.
Or African people in destitute situations.
Mm-hmm. So the example that I was given was that there's an issue in Yemen where they're saying this is the worst humanitarian crisis ever in Yemen. But no one ever came out and said, well, actually, no, it's not, because Saudi Arabia has blocked the borders to Yemen. Because they've blocked the borders, food is not coming in, and also they are being sold arms. So if we look at the UK,
yeah.
So if you looked at the narrative, well, actually, you know why this is happening. So you need to say, actually, our campaign and our issue here is that Saudi Arabia is blocking the borders to Yemen.
Yeah.
This is causing humanitarian aid. Saudi Arabia need to remove the blockade, and that will be fine. But they never say that.
And also the fact that people were saying that the money that's taken out of Africa is more than the money being given as aid.
So the people who are going to Africa to say, listen, we are here to help you. Well, actually, your multinationals are in Africa who are not paying taxes. They are putting money in like tax havens. They are using all the loopholes, and also to blame some African governments because they have to do their part.
Yeah.
But it's not a situation where all the things that are happening, and as a result of that, people are starving and people are dying. So, Efua has come out and she said a piece, and I think people need to look at that, and also governments need to look at that and identify the fact that there are issues and there are trends and there are loopholes that are being allowed to happen, and we're also allowing people to come in to say, hey, we're coming to help you without the right narrative. So they need to make sure that that's happening.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to our main stories making the headlines across the continent. And on the phone, I have Idris Adesina. Idris Adesina is the editor of Alternative Africa. Good morning to you, Idris.
Good morning, Jones, and good morning, everybody in the studio.
Good morning.
Idris, let's start off. Let's look at this. It's been reported, and I think this was you published this story that people, mostly patients, are illegally detained in hospitals against their will each year. The crime is being too poor to pay their medical bills, Idris.
Yeah, it's been a long situation in Africa, particularly I am from Nigeria. I've reported this as a journalist in Nigeria. We've seen it reported in media in Nigeria. But the scale at which it was collated by the report from the Chatham House is very disturbing, and it cuts across almost African countries. It's unfortunate. Yes, it's happening. But again, let me give another dimension to it. The story says the two things that can end this story is that the government should make a legislation to say, look, stop all this nonsense. Yes, government can do that. But what is going to be the effect of that? One of the effects of that is that private patients, private hospital will refuse to have patients until you put some money down. That is my worry there. They will not begin to refuse patients, especially if you're unable to pay. If you are in a serious situation now, you need to deposit money before we can admit you. If that comes to effect, we know what's going to be the effect, because most government hospitals are not even free on their own. But the story as collated by this report is very, very, very shocking. Most of the countries that are relatively well run in Africa are also culpable. Nigeria, Ghana are culpable in this, and that worries me.
Sorry, I think we had technical issues. But Idris, if I was to ask you, obviously this is very, very concerning and alarming. What is the government doing about this? Because surely governments within the countries listed, Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, all these countries, they have leaders that know about this situation, but yet these things keep going on.
Yeah, there are two things involved in this. You know, politicians in Africa are very happy to exploit the situations for politics when election is coming. If you look at certain part of the story, will tell you that in Nigeria, it's been reported, not that it's been heard, reported widely in the media, where politicians will go to hospitals and pay the medical bill and use that as a PR, as a campaign motive when he wants to win an election. That is one part of it. The second part of it is because those hospitals concerned are private hospitals, and that is where the problem is in Africa. They want to be seen as a country that is promoting private initiative in education, private initiative in hospitals, private initiative in everything privatized. They want to tell you that we are privatizing, we are opening up the government. Government have no business in business. So because of that, they are opening the economy to private initiative. This is one of the examples of negative initiative in private sector. They will tell you it's just private hospitals that does that. You can't find any government hospital in this situation. It is private hospital. Then when private hospital now becomes a detention center, what is the role of government in that? That is why government must come in. That is why the second part of that report says government must allow free hospitals. Government must allow access to hospitals. Yes, government will say we are allowing it. I lived in Lagos for so many years. I know there is an ambulance service in Lagos for so many years. But when you call an ambulance, how early did they get to you?
Looking at the economic situations in these countries, is it feasible to have free healthcare or medical care?
Look, medical care in this country, for instance, in Lagos, for instance, is almost free. That is one. But what is the percentage of government hospitals to the population? Lagos alone is bigger than Ghana in terms of population. Now, when you now have one big hospital, and the policy in Lagos, for instance, because Lagos is one of the concerned states, if you look at this report very well, Nigeria is one of the states, the countries involved in this. So I'm going to pick Lagos as an example now, because majority of the reports happens in Lagos. Lagos have free medical care for hospitals. One major hospitals in a particular district, that is in local government. Now, each local government now, the minimum in local government will be about 3, 4, 5 million people. Now, then there will be primary health care that are unable to treat major incidences. Then when a woman is about to get to labor and they require surgery, then how early are you going to transport that woman to hospital to get the attention? So the necessary thing for you to do now is to quickly go to private hospital. And when the bill is so much, you are unable to pay, this incident happens. Then what is the access? Not that there is no private hospital or government hospital in these countries, but what is the percentage of those hospitals to the population?
Okay, Idris, just stay on the line for me. We're going on a quick break. When we come back, we'll also talk to Joseph Ochiano, who is a political analyst on African affairs. This is Talk Africa. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
I love social media. I mean, I am social media. So I've decided I'm going to hijack your screens for the next 60 minutes as we surf through your Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and all of it. The key is to listen, engage, and build relationships. Social media is not just any media. It means fun and connecting to your favorite personalities online from any part of the globe. And when I say fun, I mean real fun. FNN Social. You might ask an artist to explain his art, or ask a poet to explain his poem, but it defeats the purpose. The meaning is only clear through the search. Painting is the silence of thought, the music of sight. Painting is just another way of keeping a diary. If you could say it in words, there'll be no reason to paint.
Join me, John Sewa, on Talk Africa from 6:30 Monday to Friday on GNTV. You can watch us also on Facebook, GNTV UK, on Sky on channel 291, or you can listen to us on radio, DAB across London on GN Radio. This is Talk Africa.
Do you know where we are?
And waking up every morning like it's just another day.
We can try again. You have to fight.
I have fought.
walk away whilst I'm still talking to you.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Welcome back to Talk Africa with me, Jones Ewa. Today, our main topic of the day, we're asking the question, is religion still relevant in modern day society? You can go onto our Facebook page, GNTV UK or Talk Africa, and you can leave your comments on there. Or if you want to call into the studio, it's 0203-286-0185 or 0203-735-8820. Repeat those numbers again, 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. In the studio today we have Ludwig Nee Jr. Also on the phone we have Idris Adishina, who is the editor of Alternative Africa. But Idris, before we went on a break, you were talking about the report that just come out that a lot of people, especially across Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, DRC, a lot of patients when they go to hospital, just because they can't afford their hospital bill, they're kept in hospital. But if you can just run up quickly for me before we move on to the next.
Yeah, as I said before, this practice is limited to mostly private hospitals. And that's where the crisis is. How much effect, how much effort, how much effect that government have, control can government have on what happens in the private hospitals. Yet government have responsibility to the people. All we need to do is just to quick encouraging government that the access to private, to free medical care in Africa is there, but it's too limited. So government should increase their capacity, particularly those things that make it impossible for them to access it. Good roads, good light, those things are great. Because if you have a good road, it's easier for somebody to quickly take his patient to the hospital rather than go to the nearest private hospital before those things happens. So those are things we are going to keep encouraging government and particularly appeal to these people. See, they are private people. If you don't pay them, there's nothing you can do. You have to force you to pay. That is the position in Africa. Unfortunately, that is how we find ourselves. But we keep just a question. I mean, that's it. If you come to your hospital, my point is that if there's a general ban on it, they won't take patients.
Let's move on to the next story, and I have Joseph Ochiano online, who's a political analyst on African affairs. Joseph, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jones.
Joseph, I came to you because this is a story with regards to Ugandan President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has finally spoken on the controversial age limit debate that months back led to clashes in Parliament. Joseph.
Yes. Museveni has desperately, typical of all these African dictators, not learned even from what happened in Zimbabwe recently, although probably he will not mind about what happened in Zimbabwe because in this case Mugabe was not whipped like Gaddafi was, and then because Mugabe was amongst comrades. So Museveni, because he owns the political and military establishment in Uganda, probably thinks that he might be able to sustain himself, but it's not really that good. But look, Museveni came to power after 5 years of an armed, very, very vicious terrorist war that probably today would not be backed by anybody except Libya, ironically, at the time. Museveni had lost elections in 1980. He got 0.8% of the vote, and then went to the bush claiming elections had been rigged. So when he came to power, in other words, he defied the people. I mean, the people had basically rejected him, and he lost his own constituency, where he came third. The governing UPC party at the time came second in his constituency. His current foreign minister was the person who won in that seat. Now, he went to the bush claiming election had been rigged. So when they eventually came to power after working with the military in the governing party to overthrow the government, he chucked away his friends and then he came to power himself from 1985 to 86. He said, and I was a university student at the time, that they would be in power for only 2 years, work on the constitution amendment, and return quote power to the people. From 1986, he came into power in January, and they banned the political parties. Now, that is banning the power of the people that you say you want to speak. And since then, for 20 years, Jones, even the time when I first met you, by then we're still campaigning to force opening of the political space in Uganda, which we had to do so, thankfully, legally. In 2005, we won the court case to return pluralism in Uganda. By then, that is 20 years in power, through a military regime and political parties had been banned, meaning the voices of people had been banned. People were not allowed to assemble, to organize politically, to hold rallies, or even to sponsor candidates. If it was known that I was sponsoring a candidate as a politician in Uganda, it would be unlawful and illegal. So by that time, 1986 or thereabout, Museveni had been in power for 20 years. What it basically means is that, well, it's a patronage. Jones, in your own household, it is very difficult for me to come and basically claim that I own a tiny little bit of sugar. So it's a contradiction. So the headline is very interesting, that power belongs to the people. But you will notice that here, he's actually saying because power belongs to the people, people have got to decide. But what he forgets is that the constitutional amendments he wants to make, which is the age limit thing, was basically an element of his own constitution, which they set up in 1995.
Joseph, just touch on the age limit that he's trying to change from the Ugandan constitution.
In fact, that is exactly, I was trying to give you a contextual background, because the age limit thing was that in their constitution, which is the current Ugandan constitution of 1995, they brought in one term limit, which is already amended, and the age limit that a person standing for president would not be less than 35 and more than 75. And that was now in 1995. Now, many people vote into that. Now, to be fair to him, he's quite right that not many countries or constitutions have got provisions, particularly the upper age limit for presidential candidates. But at the time, both of them were being put because they were trying to stop Milton Obote, who was then former president, and he was in exile, and Obote was about 70 at the time. So they thought Obote might want to come back, one, to be in power, maybe over that kind of time. So Obote not to return again, and then two, even if he came back, he would not technically qualify in terms of term limits. But then chickens came to roost. But clearly, regardless of that, after being in power for 32 years, you notice actually in that report, he suggests even that they want to extend the terms of parliament. The other day I was your guest, and I was referring to average 5-year terms, and I think you, one of your colleagues, had to very quickly tell me that in Ghana you guys are privileged actually 4 years. Now, which is like America. So in Uganda and most African countries, 5 years. Museveni wants to extend that bit of it to 7. This is crucially important about the element of power belongs to the people. What is it, Jones, that you could not have done in 5 years as one term, parliamentary term, that you want to do in 7? Now, what is it that you really would not have done after 32 years? Museveni will be clocking 32 in January. In 32 years in power, continuously, by the way, unchallenged, and you still think you'll be able to want to do it. It's a very, very big issue in Africa. It would be very interesting to know what people like Nanado, you're very good and determined new president, has to go to say about these things.
Okay, let's hear what Idris will say about this before we move on. Idris.
Hey, it's very interesting when you look at this background. Unfortunately, we know what Museveni will do. We know what he's capable of doing. We know what he wants to do. I mean, at that age, this is one of my problems in Africa. They don't make laws for people. They don't make laws for the country. They make laws to catch some people. And now the law is catching up on them. Now they want to quickly change that, because the law was not made for the people. It was made for a particular person to target that person. Unfortunately, it's forgotten that they will come of age. Now that law that is exactly what is happening. Unfortunately, no president of Ghana or Nigeria can go. They can only appeal to Museveni to step out of power because there's a cost of
thank
law.
you very much. Idris, the editor of Alternative Africa, also Joseph Ochiano. Joseph Ochiano is a political analyst on African affairs. Thank you both very much this morning for talking to us this morning. Just to let you know, we are live on Sky, channel 291 on GNTV. We're also streaming live on Facebook, GNTV UK, and also on Talk Africa. If you want to call into the studio, it's 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. We're moving on into our main topic of the day. This is very interesting. And if you just join us, good morning once again. It's been said if you don't want to get into an argument, you shouldn't talk about politics, money, or religion at the dinner table. Well, this might be right more often than not. I know if people are open about this topic, I'm sure we can have a constructive debate on this. The belief in and worship of superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. Religion can provide comfort, a sense of belonging, hope, going to heaven or afterlife. Some have argued religion played a pivotal role in world history due to people at the time scientifically inept. Some also believe that religion is designed to control the minds of people. So today we're asking, is religion still relevant in modern day society? You can call into the studio to share your thoughts on 0203-286-0185 or 0203-735-8820. My guest in the studio, Ludwig Nee Jr. Ludwig, this is a very fascinating topic. I think sometimes when we bring these issues up, some people are very reluctant to talk about it because they belong to a certain religion and they can't see beyond that religion.
Yes. I don't even know where to start. Religion is one of those areas where, it's interesting because religion preaches a certain way of how people need to be. There's a certain conduct of how you need to be. But ironically, there has been wars based on religion, and the peoples whose religion, whoever are fighting, the religious sects have fought each other based on whose religion is the best. Do you know what I mean? So there's been the Crusaders who's been around the world in the early ages, in the dark ages, who are going around, making sure people worship their God type of thing. And even if you look at the modern day today, there are so many sects of religions, and each one believes theirs is the best. But as somebody who's kind of very open and look at it from a very open perspective, I always find it fascinating that people always believe that, these people are worshipping this way, and that's not how it should be. And these people are worshipping that way. Some people believe in Muhammad, some people believe in Jesus, some people are like 7 Days Adventists, some people are like atheists. But everyone else is trying to impose their way of life on you, per se. Especially when you get a knock on the door from the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I always say, look, I'm fine. As soon as they knock on my door, I don't want to have that conversation.
But religion too has had some good impact on not just on the world, on society.
My thing is, anything that makes you function good without imposing your will on others to make them feel inferior is great. If it's religion, good for you. Some people meditate, and they don't believe in religion. That works for them. So I think my thing is, whatever works for you to make you do what you have to do. If you feel that you have to worship a stone and that makes you feel good and that gives you the empowerment and enlightenment that you need, good. But my thing is, don't impose your way of belief onto others. Maybe you can say, in my experience, this is what's working for me. Have you tried it? As opposed to, this is what you need to do because this is what's working. Do you know what I mean? And that's the issue I have with religion. When people impose it on others and say, you have to do it this way. If it's working for you, fine. Just, you can share, as we do with everything nowadays. But it's the imposing part of it is where I have a problem with religion.
Okay. It was good to hear your thoughts on that. I know that you're...
Without me saying much.
All right. Well, it's always good to hear Yeah, it's always good to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you, because I know you're leaving us right now.
Yeah.
Thank Ludwig very much for joining us this morning. When we come back, we have two special guests who will be joining us to discuss this issue. This is Talk Africa with me, Jones Ewa. Remember, we are live on Sky Channel 291. We're also streaming live on Facebook, GNTV UK, and Talk Africa. You can call into the studio. I know somebody has called right now. We're taking a break. When we come back, we will pick your call, so don't worry. Do not hang up. The number to call is 0203 735 8820 or 0203 286 0185. We're talking about religion. Is it relevant in modern day society? We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Majority of you only pay attention to us after years of unremittent persistence and rejections, whilst we challenge the way it has always been done. We have made courageous decisions many of you wouldn't dare dream, forgetting you can live it when you dream it. Wake up with an idea. Research the egg out of the idea. Write a massive business plan, raise money, and create business. Wave goodbye to friends and families as your life is now your business. Stick with it, even on the bad days. Following your massive expansion into a worldwide domination, retire to your favorite highland or go back to step one and wash, rinse, and repeat.
The CEO's Chair, showing on GNTV UK.
Doing something illegal in there?
No. What? Your lesbian fixation? Huh? You call that a lesbian fixation? It is happening live. I am just coming from their room.
Rama, this cannot continue. We cannot continue hiding our true feelings.
Hey, why are you locking the door?
He who carries the load knows his weight. So what do we do now?
We bang on the door till she opens it.
What the hell is going on?
We just came out of that room and what we saw there didn't even come close to two women.
You know, sometimes the trap doesn't catch the prey you set it for.
Why Solombi? These girls are becoming troublesome.
Are we supposed to tell our clients to wait so we go buy shampoo? We deliver to our clients irrespective of our challenges.
I shall be back. You won't get rid of me so easily.
I love social media. I mean, I am social media. So I've decided I'm going to hijack your screens for the next 60 minutes as we surf through your Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and all of it. The key is to listen, engage, and build relationships. Social media is not just any media. It means fun and connecting to your favorite personalities online from any part of the globe. And when I say fun, I mean real fun. FNN Social.
Do you know where we are?
And waking up every morning like it's just another day.
We can try again. You have to fight.
I have fought.
Not walk away whilst I'm still talking to you.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Welcome back to Talk Africa with me, Jones Ewa. Again, we are live on Sky Channel 291, GNTV. You can go onto our Facebook page. We are streaming live on our Facebook, GNTV UK, and also on Talk Africa. If you want to call into the studio, it's 0203-286-0185 or 0203-735-8820. I know a few people have started calling, but just bear with us. You can hold on a few minutes. We will pick up your calls. Now, before I went on the break, I did touch on the moment we talk about religion, it sparks up a big debate. However, I'm sure if all of us are open and honest, we can have a constructive debate where it won't get into any form of argument. Okay. Now, joining us in the studio to discuss the issue that we're talking about today is religion still relevant in modern day society? We have Reverend Claude Ham Ejapon, who's Alberton Baptist Church and International Praise Center. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Also, Sarah Garvey, who is a pantheist, and pantheist is somebody that believes everything is interdivine into one another.
Interconnected. And everything is divine.
And everything is divine. Fantastic. Okay, so I won't come to you first because obviously I know what you're going to say, so I'll go to you.
No, that's very presumptuous. How would you know what I'm going to say?
No, because I know you for the religious background.
All right. Okay.
So, Sarah, the question that we've posed to everybody is: religion still relevant in modern day society?
First of all, you'd have to decide what religion you're talking about. If you're talking about, I guess, the Abrahamic religions, Judeo-Christianity and Islam, I'd say they will be relevant in the fact that you could take some philosophical teachings from them, maybe, some metaphorical teachings, but I think literally, I don't think it's relevant. If you take the stories literally, I don't think it's relevant at all.
Why?
Because there's no proof that these things actually happened. There's no proof that these characters actually existed. But what you can find within the books, either the Quran or the Bible, are, stories that you can maybe apply to your life. You can use that and apply it to your life. However, believing that, say a man lived inside a whale's stomach for 3 days, to me seems a little bit absurd, to tell the truth.
Pastor?
Yes, sir.
Let me hear your thoughts on that. Religion, is this still relevant in modern day society?
Well, I think it's very relevant, and it's as relevant as the very existence of humankind. I would like to clarify that religion is more or less a generic term, and you're looking at different religions and what they actually represent or stand for. I am a Christian, as you said, my background and where I'm coming from. I'm a Christian. I'm a minister of religion, and I believe very strongly that my faith as a Christian is relevant, and it defines who I am and influences how I live.
But then we're talking about society in general. I mean, if you look at the way things have moved on, you've had people saying back in history, the reason why religion was so pivotal to mankind is the fact that scientifically people went that, science wasn't that well developed. But now if you look at the way things are going on, certain questions are being asked. So people don't really need to depend on religion anymore.
Well, you don't need to depend on religion, I would emphasize, but then you need to depend on your faith and on your experience. I mean, I am a Christian, and my faith literally defines me. I have a relationship with the one in whom I've come to believe in, and that actually influences the way I live. And that makes my life very meaningful. Therefore, my faith is very relevant to me.
Okay, so thank you for clarifying, religion and faith. So we have to come to the faith now. If, you're saying you're a pantheist, so you don't believe that there's a God?
No, I don't believe that there's a one single archetype God that controls everything.
So what do you believe then?
Everything that we know of in scientifically is energy in one way, shape or form, which means, you know, the microphone that you're talking into is energy, and so are you, and so is everything that we know of. And if you go by a scientific basis, this energy was the cause and is the cause of everything. And so what I find is that people generally have come to a similar conclusion around the world, that there is some kind of energy or force or something like that, and they've now categorized it in the way they want to. So you will find you'll categorize it now as Yahweh, categorize it as Allah, categorize it as Brahmin, categorize it as something else, and then they'll give it a story. However, the story of energy just is. There is no story. We don't know much about it. And all we do know about it, it doesn't have a personality, or, you know, it doesn't have a special people over another people. So, you know, me as a pantheist, I choose to, there are many pantheist religions, by the way.
Yeah.
And so we can see, even within pantheism, people categorize this energy as something else. However, no one's categorization should supersede another person's, in my view.
Okay, let's take our first caller this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello. Okay, I think the caller is gone. You can call back. Okay, it's 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. If you want to send a text message, it's 0793-286-1328. We're also live on Facebook. You can share your thoughts and comments on Facebook. We will read them out. If you got any questions, make sure to leave them there. We will read them out. Now, you did say that you don't believe in things that, or you alluded to that, things that you do not see. If I'm correct with what you just said.
Well, first of all, there is, if we want to talk about beliefs, for me, belief is if we go to the actual definition of the word, is a acceptance that something is true.
It's true, yeah.
Even though you can't prove
see
it.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone has a belief in something. They accept something to be true even though they can't see it. Right. So I don't have a belief as such in, you know, like you were saying, an archetypal God, whereas I will deal with the fact that everything is energy, but I don't make a story around it. I don't say the energy's name is so and so and it has a special people over so and so, right? I would just say it is energy, and that is basically my...
Okay. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Candy, and I'm calling from London.
Hi, Candy. What would you like to say?
Well, I want to talk about the Christian faith. Well, not necessarily the Christian faith, but whether faith and religion are relevant to modern society.
Yes, we're listening, Candy.
Are you on air?
Yes, you're live on air, Candy.
Okay. I think faith and religion are things which we can't separate. Now, it doesn't matter what religion, but everyone believes in something. Even the pantheist who's talking now, he believes in something. And if he believes in the Big Bang and all of that, that's fine. It's allowed. But
can you not listen to your radio, Candy, and just talk to us, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to cut it out. The thing is,
listening now, Candy. Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, everyone needs faith, and faith is what moves us on. You have to believe in something, and that's faith. You have to believe that you can get up, that you can do certain things, that good things will happen to you. And even if you are in a bad time, you have to have faith that tomorrow it's going to get better, that things do not, how shall I say, no position is permanent, and therefore, so that's the faith part. But religion actually was there for rules, discipline, and that's how communities were controlled in a certain way. Now, if we're going to move away from religion, we still need faith. I am with the gentleman, Reverend, the Reverend Claude.
Yes, Reverend Claude. Yeah.
Yeah, Reverend Claude, who was saying that, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, though. He keeps saying, I am a Christian, I'm a Christian. It doesn't matter what you are. If you have faith in whatever it is that you follow or you are doing, and your faith is covering a group of people, whether Christian, Muslim, or agnostic, it is all good. Because it is for the greater good that we all have the faith that keeps us moving.
Okay, Candy, just stay online there. Let me get Reverend to answer what the question that you posted.
Well, she's not posed a question. She's made a
statement.
Yeah, she's made a statement, and I can only agree with her that, yes, I mean, there is the need for us to make a distinction between faith and religion. However, there is that interconnectedness because religion actually gives birth to faith. There are specificities as far as religions are concerned. As I clearly indicated, I am a Christian, and that is what I consider as my faith. Is very relevant to me, and I can go on all day to let you understand why that is relevant to me. But then there is one thing that I picked up from what she was saying, and that is personalizing your faith, because everybody needs to carry on. Everybody needs to wake up and have hope. We all have aspirations. We all aspire for a better today and a better tomorrow, and as a result of that, we need something to believe in, and that is where that definition comes in. As far as you as an individual will then begin to identify what it is that will let you rise up and to carry on, and that I would leave to an individual to answer.
Okay. Candy, thank you very much for calling. This is Talk Africa. If you just joined us, we're talking about religion. Okay, we're talking about religion this morning. Is it relevant in modern day society? We're taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our discussion. This is Talk Africa. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
I love social media. I mean, I am social media. So I've decided I'm going to hijack your screens for the next 60 minutes as we surf through your Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and all of it. The key is to listen, engage, and build relationships. Social media is not just any media. It means fun and connecting to your favorite personalities online from any part of the globe. And when I say fun, I mean real fun. FNN Social.
You might ask an artist to explain his art, or ask a poet to explain his poem, but it defeats the purpose. The meaning is only clear through the search. Painting is the silence of thought, the music of sight. Painting is just another way of keeping a diary. If we could say it in words, there'll be no reason to paint.
This is Cooking Africa.
This is delicious.
I'll vote Naomi as a winner for today's competition. You're still watching Cooking Africa.
Cooking Africa, showing soon on GNTV.
E-News Redefined. Wondering what's going on in the life of your favorite entertainment personality? Wonder no more, because the Daily Setbit has got you covered with the latest in entertainment news, gossip, fact, rumors, and of course, some sizzling interviews.
Not just that, did you know actor Jimmy Foxx's real name is Eric Malone Bishop? I bet you didn't know. On the Did You Know segment, we bring you some mind-boggling facts you might not know about your favorite celebrity.
We don't only set the trend with our stories, we bring you trending videos and images that have gone viral on social media. Your entertainment just got better.
Welcome to another edition of Switch HQ. That's right, my name is Ludwig Jr. and from now on you're going to see my shows coming to you straight from London exclusively. What, Roy? You're going to be seeing events from here, you're going to be seeing interviews.
Happy birthday, movies.
I think God listens to me a lot.
I'm good, thank you.
Exclusively.
Please, lady, first thing, keep what? Switch.
What if it is entertainment? This is the Met they added to Swiss HQ. About what?
Hello, my name is Dorothy, Miss Face of Ghana UK 2016, and I'm Sharon Rose.
This is Mimi. I came to blah 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 blah.
This is Ghana, man, so we're representing.
Swiss HQ, we say.
I'm just going to be in the crowd. How are you already know? My name is SARKODIE, aka you know what time it is, aka Money No Big Problem, aka what else? Now stand up. You're watching Switch HQ. Woo!
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Welcome back to Talk Africa with me, John Sewa. In the studio, we have Reverend Dr. Claude Ham Ejapong from Alberton Baptist Church and International Praise Center. Also, Sarah Garvey, who's a pantheist, here in the studio with us this morning. You can go onto our Facebook page, GNTV UK Talk Africa. We are streaming live. We're also live on Sky Channel 291 on GNTV. If you want to call into the studio, it's 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. More so, it seems like this generation, people are tending to move away from what's deemed to be the norm. So I wanted to know from you, Reverend, can one still have faith without necessarily belonging to a religion?
Oh yes.
Or being religious.
My friend here has faith in something. As he said, he probably will not put a name to it, but he's a pantheist.
But would you describe yourself as having faith?
Not so much. No, I wouldn't describe myself as having faith, because I don't pray to this thing. I don't, the relationship that I have with this energy isn't the same as religious people have with the God.
How would you describe that? The energy you keep talking about. Mm-hmm. How would you describe that? How, do you feel it?
I am it. We are it. It just is. I know it may be like hard for some people to grasp, but everything is energy. So
is it life? Is it what is it?
It's life.
Okay.
It's everything. A very simple pantheist saying is, everything is everything.
Is it not the same then as if in Christianity terms, as people would say the Holy Spirit?
No, not at all. No. Not at all. Okay. I mean, nothing near that. And I would say that for me as a person, I don't believe in anything. I believe in someone, and it's my ability to find a definition to who I believe in that is important to me. And how does that come about? It comes about by my ability to be able to confirm or to be able to say that this is my experience with the person that I believe in. And that's very different from what my friend is talking about. I'll find it very difficult if I went into a classroom or I went into a lecture room, and then my lecturer is teaching me something, and then he tells me that, well, whatever I'm teaching you has no definition, it has no beginning, it has no end, it is everything, and everything is everything. I would like to know, I would like to, having a very curious mind and having, wanting to be able to acquire knowledge and to understand things, I would like to have things defined for me. And I think definition is quite important.
Maybe, Sarah, you can define things for us.
I mean, I personally, I think the human ego is a very interesting thing. I think the ego wants to know a lot of answers to questions that you may not necessarily know. Okay, so for me, if all human beings have come to a conclusion around the globe that there is something, some energy, some force, and then, right, the human ego now defines it. It doesn't define itself, you see. So I'm choosing not to define it because I know that if I do define it, I'm only going to be defining it based on my own subjective reasoning. Right, so the Christian will define it as I said, as Jesus, and the Muslim will define it as Allah, and all this kind of stuff. And to me, those are just subjective, egotistical ways of defining something that hasn't actually defined itself. So when people say, "Oh, God told me," or "It was God," I would say, "No, you told you that, and another human being told you that, and another human being told them." This actual energy didn't tell you anything. The actual energy just is. Human beings have now decided that this is what the energy said, and these are the people that it chose, right? And this is the book that it gave me, because there's no proof that this God actually exists, because people talk about God.
Okay, what's the proof that the energy you're talking about exists?
It's everything. You can go scientifically. We can break down atoms and protons, neutrons, and electrons in this microphone. It actually exists. It's not something that doesn't exist. It actually exists. So I'm talking about something that actually exists, but not choosing to define it. People are talking about, religious people are talking about something that they can't, they define, but they can't find existing. So it's like backwards.
Reverend.
I personally would like to make it very easy for myself and for everybody listening. And I would always come back to the point of experience. We can go scientific and talk about atoms and protons and electrons and all of that. We can also go very philosophical and begin to go into high levels of theology, which might not be meaningful to somebody who is waking up from bed this morning and listening to you and is looking for a sense of hope or even a sense of inspiration, somebody who is in a desperate situation and needs a voice, as he was saying, to say something to him. That voice could be from the person himself or from another person, as my friend is saying. We can go on and on and on and on and on. But then you can, for me, the most important thing is that I trace my being to a source. And everything that gives me energy, gives me inspiration, gives me encouragement, gives me life, I connect it to the source. I mean, it is up to whoever has not experienced it to say that, well, the source is not real, or the source is originating from human ego or from yourself. That is immaterial to me. But the most important thing is that the source is able to drive me to do what I am supposed to do. And maybe I would explain that a bit further as we go on.
I find it interesting because he says that he says a source drives him, okay? And so, like I said, human beings define the source differently. So if we can he's used someone who needs inspiration and all this kind of stuff. So I always use the analogy of like 3 different people. You have 3 different alcoholics, say, right? And they all go to an alcoholic meeting, and one becomes a Christian and one becomes a Muslim, and the other one follows a 10-point plan, right? That, the Alcoholics Anonymous person chose them. They go away. 6 months later, they're all off alcohol and drugs, and all of them are going to tell you it was Jesus that helped me. The other one's going to tell you it was Allah that helped me. And the other one's going to tell you, well, it was Matthew from the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, right? So the common denominator within that scenario are the human being. It was a human being that drove themselves to come off it, whereas they needed inspiration from something or someone. So for me, the common denominator in all things are human beings, whereas what we believe in, right, may drive us, but what we believe in is different.
Does it not just boil down to faith?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But who has faith? Human beings have faith. So it's all down to us. And that is my point. We are the common denominator. We keep saying, oh, it's something else, it's something else, it's something else. It's us. We are the ones that have the faith.
Well, very interesting. You can call in. Number is 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. If you want to send a text message, it's 0793-286-1328. We are also streaming live on Facebook. Go onto our Facebook page, GNTV UK, and leave your comments on there. We're also on our other Facebook page, Talk Africa. Leave your comments on there. Let me take a few text messages that have come in. This one's from Alfred. Alfred is saying, good morning. Can you please ask Sarah Garvey for me if he has ever been to the church, and if so, has he ever experienced what it's like to be in a church?
Yes, I grew up in the church.
You grew up in the church?
Of course, yeah, I grew up. I grew up in the church. My family was Seventh-day Adventist Christians. And so, yes, I've been to church, and I learned at church through most of my childhood. And then I gained, I guess, a different understanding within my adulthood. So, yeah, I've definitely been to church.
Then at which point did you realize that, okay, maybe this is not for me? There's something else out there?
I think around the age of about 20, 21, I started asking questions. And what I found was the questions couldn't be answered. And so I had to go on a search for myself and try and answer them for myself.
Okay. All right. Here there's a comment on Facebook. Keep sending your comments coming in, okay? I will read your comments. It's GNTV UK. Go onto our Facebook page or Talk Africa and leave your comments on there. If you want to call into the studio, it's 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. And this is from Erica. Erica is saying, why is it so hard for people to grasp the fact that everything is everything, which is energy? The source is energy. LOL. Okay. Thanks, Erica.
I agree.
You agree. All right, then let's try and move this on. Reverend,
yes,
a lot of people, we cannot doubt the impact of what religion, faith has had on the world. But now there is a decline in people actually going to church, because first and foremost, some people are beginning to ask questions. There's certain questions that they feel as though the church are not giving them the answer to. And as Sarah is saying here, people are starting to realize that maybe the church was just there to just control people. What would you say to people like that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that it depends on the geography of the area you're talking about. There isn't a decline in church attendance globally, but there might be a decline in church attendance in certain parts of the world, especially in the Western world.
Yeah.
And statistically, there's a huge growth in people's faith in different parts of the world, including Latin America, Africa, Asia. In the Western world, looking at the London scene that I have done a lot of research on, might be due to a good number of reasons, including wealth and prosperity, including people beginning to ask questions due to postmodernism and enlightenment, including people being too busy. So yes, there is that trend in inner London, and I think that at the same time there is also a surge. There is also a growth. I mean, I can mention a good number of churches that are seeing a great attendance and a great outpouring of people going in there seeking. And so I think that it's not a definite decline as you may think it is.
Okay, let's take our next caller. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Idris. Yeah.
Hi, Idris. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I want to sympathize with the Reverend first, because I'm sorry I didn't say it in any derogatory way because I know he has to struggle to tell us whether religion is relevant these days. But my biggest problem is that religion is no longer relevant because of the activities of those who are supposed to propagate religion. What are we talking about when we say religion is relevant? Look at our society. People are free to do whatever they like. People don't even go to church or go to mosque any longer. The activities of the so-called men of God is so shameful these days. Just a few weeks ago, we are discussing on this same channel when the Bishop of England said people should be free to do whatever they like at that very age of 4 or 5. When we now have people of same-sex marriages in churches and in mosques. So what are we saying? But again, the beauty of it is that if you look at the scripture themselves, it's been foretold that these things are going to happen. But the danger is nobody believes in religion again. And that's my fear there. It's no longer working. Maybe we should look for another way to say it. But the truth of the matter is that if you look at our society today, religion is no longer relevant. It's not working anywhere. Those who are supposed to protect religion, they are the ones damaging that religion. Unfortunately, that's the problem.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes, I thank you, Idris. But I would say that we also have to be very careful with the definition of terms here, because when you say something is relevant or irrelevant, what you're saying is that has it got a place in our society? Yeah. And I would say that yes, religion has a place in our society, and it's true that there are a lot of things that are going on, and historically, and that's what we have to understand, that historically it has been the trend. We have had different generations and different successions of things happening within religious communities over the years. It's not just a recent development. That has always been the case. In every society, there can be uses and abuses. And I always use this illustration of having a knife. A knife probably is manufactured as a tool in the house that can be used for good. At the same time, somebody can pick it up and use it to commit a crime. Yeah. And so that is where we have to sort of iron out the distinctions.
With what Reverend Claude is saying, I mean, a lot of people, especially when it comes to religion, people who do not believe and not have any religious beliefs, they tend to always bring up slavery days. They always talk about, it was through Christianity that people were sold into slavery. And a lot of people too have also said that, listen, just as the pastor was saying, if somebody uses the tool for evil, you cannot paint all Christianity or Christians as being bad.
Well, it's no, to say that Africans ourselves got Christianity and Islam, to say that we didn't get it via colonialism and slavery would just be historically incorrect. Correct, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So my thing now is, would your enslaver give you the keys to your salvation as they're enslaving you? I don't think it would be a very, a good thing to give the people you're enslaving the keys to their salvation. I don't believe that Islam and Christianity are the salvation for African people. I don't. That's my personal thing. I think, in general, the slave master used the religion to keep you in line. I mean, I look at it like this. I can't pray to Jesus, and my slave master can't pray to Jesus, and we get both our prayers answered. Okay, because the slave master's praying for something else, probably to keep me in line, and I'm probably praying to kind of get out of slavery. So whose prayer is he going to answer? Okay, so, for me to actually take on the religion and the God of your enslaver, to me, doesn't make any sense. We already, as Africans, had our own spiritual systems, and they worked just fine for us. We were told that they don't work for us, right? But they were working just fine. I think historically, we can find that Africans, Africans not a utopia, but Africans did what Africans did with their own spiritual systems before Christianity and Islam came along. And before that, we had societies. Now, Africans build churches. They don't build societies, in my view.
Okay, Reverend.
Well, you are right to an extent, but then also there are certain facts that are eliminated in terms of enslavement and in terms of colonialism. If you look at the historical records, Christianity is not what actually brought colonialism into Africa or into the developing world. Actually, there were traders, there were colonialists, there were people who went out there to look for trading posts and for economic reasons, as well as missionaries that were also sent out there. At some point in time, you realize that those colonialists capitalized on the work of the missionaries to be able to enslave people and to establish a presence in places.
Yeah.
And there is also historical facts to show that there were people of faith who were actually colonialists as well. But then coming back to what is relevant to this day, did and does religion do good to any society? I don't think religion is an entirely destructive force to a society. It is as to how man uses the force, as my friend is talking about, that could end up being destructive. And I think that in most cases, we must take on the responsibility to be able to say what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong.
But then these people that are committing such atrocities are using the core
because
beliefs.
Man is intrinsically evil, and giving anything can decide to do things that are not right. Man, I mean, if you take the world of politics, for example, would you say that politics is evil?
Well, it depends.
Wow. Yeah. No. Would you say that it depends? Okay. Let me listen.
No. It depends how you look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in everything, and that is my point. In everything, it depends on how you look at it, and it depends on the position that you take. You cannot consider me to be evil if I am going by my scriptures and yes. So if I mean, we're not talking generally about my faith here,
right,
but I believe that I am intrinsically evil. Therefore, I needed salvation, and that salvation is what redeems me to be the person that God made me to be.
Okay,
yes.
I know you want to come in.
Yes.
Let's
I really do.
All right, let's take another call. Hello, good morning. Hello. Okay, I think the caller is gone. We're gonna go on the break. Just make a note, okay?
I'll take a mental note.
All right, just take a mental note. This is Talk Africa. If you just joined us, we are talking about religion. Is it relevant in modern day society? This is Talk Africa once again with me, John Sewa. We're going on a break. When we come back, we will continue with our discussion. We will be right back.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
I love social media. I mean, I am social media. So I've decided I'm going to hijack your screens for the next 60 minutes as we surf through your Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and all of it. The key is to listen, engage, and build relationships. Social media is not just any media. It means fun and connecting to your favorite personalities online from any part of the globe. And when I say fun, I mean real fun. FNN Social.
Next time, not joke with Nona's family. I hear me. I feel that.
Foreigners are in deciding for us, what to do when it comes to our music. This is just so not cool.
Charlie, just forget them. If you're not ready to pay our artist like a $30,000 or $90,000, then where are we going?
Talent get case. You go see one kid can't they stay top. They do small acrobatics here and there, or people they clap. Why this kid get talent? How?
Instead of beefing each other, Ghanaian artists can actually join hands together and promote themselves internationally.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Welcome back to Talk Africa with me, John Sewa. In the studio, we have Reverend Dr. Claude Helm Ejapong, who's from Alperton Baptist Church and also International Praise Center. We also have Sarah Garvey, a pantheist, with us in the studio today. If you just joining us, we are talking about religion. Is it still relevant in modern day society? You can call into the show. The number is 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. You can go onto our Facebook page, GNTV UK, to leave a comment, or our Talk Africa page on Facebook, and you can leave a comment on there. Now, Sarah, before we went on the break, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I wanted to go in because the Reverend said that he believes man is inherently evil.
Yeah.
And he said he's inherently evil, which is why he needs saving. And I would say the psychology of that is what is detrimental to human society. To actually believe that you're evil over that you're good, essentially, would say to me that there would be an insecurity problem or a way in which to look at yourself with like no or zero self-esteem. I would go to the Bible and, Reverend would say, that he's inherently evil. And I would say, in my view, reading the Bible, God would be inherently evil because God said it himself that he created evil, Isaiah 45:7. In King James Version, God says, I create evil. So would it now be an evil act to create evil? In my view, I would say yes. So we're talking, the Reverend said he believes men or human beings inherently evil. I would say, well, then the creator of men who created evil would also be inherently evil.
Reverend?
Yes. Sorry.
The creator of men must be also evil.
The creator of men must be evil. Well, that's very interesting because it's bringing us to some theological discussions about the origin of good and the origin of evil. He quoted the Bible, if I overheard him right, and in the book of Genesis, the Bible makes us understand that God created everything, and after he had created everything, he said that everything that I have created is good. And so in my Bible, I see a good God. I see a good God with a good creation. I see a good God creating man to say that I want man to be in my image because I am good. And I also talking about relevance, because don't forget that this discussion is about the relevance of religion and the relevance of our faith.
Yeah.
And I did mention that I, as a man, I am created in the nature of sin, which is the evil that I was referring to. And therefore, I needed salvation. I needed redemption. Therefore, I have been redeemed. And having been redeemed, I have a new image. I have a new nature. And that is the nature of God. It restores me. That is called restoration to how God wants me to be. If God is evil, why would he want me to be in a good nature?
Go on.
I'm just going by what the scripture says. It says God created evil. So you can ask all the questions, and I think there's a little bit of being blinkered as to what the Bible actually says. The Reverend did say that he sees a good God in the Bible, whereas if we read what God actually does, some people can class it as evil. For instance, flooding the whole world and killing the rest of humankind would, innocent people I would see as evil. To kill, to commit genocide like that, I would say is evil. And then leave, 8 people on the ark to come off and all that kind of stuff. So to me, I would say, if God is everything and he created everything and he also created evil, I would say it's a symbiotic relationship that God has with evil, that God would be both good and evil. That would make sense to me.
But then,
there are issues of translatability there, and as I said, we don't have time to go. But I think this is a conversation that will be good if you would want us to continue. But then, when you are talking about the creation, the particular scripture that you refer to in the book of Isaiah is talking about the permissive will of God. It's not talking about creation as in making. It's talking about, and you see, there is this thing about God, which is a mystery, And that is where we probably all end. Why does God allow certain things to happen? Yeah. And it comes back to the value that God places on man by being able to give man the free will. And, you know, anytime there is a free will, there could always be abuse. And that is where we have to get it right. Regardless of the religion we're talking about, whether Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, any religion that we're talking about can be abused. Now, what the issue is we all have to go back to the fundamental desire of God, or the God that we believe in. What is his will for humankind? How did he want things to be? And how does he want things to work? And that is what we always lose sight of and talk about other things. How does God want the world to work?
Okay, I've seen messages.
I want to respond to that.
All right, I've seen messages on Facebook. Let's take a few messages. This is from Fausat Mimosa Mimi. I believe religion, faith is very subjective and personal, and no one is in the position to condemn or argue against or even question why people believe in whatever they believe.
Absolutely.
I don't think the question is being answered as to whether or not religion is relevant in modern society. How does religion, I get what you're trying to say there. Mimi, keep your thoughts coming.
I think she's trying to steer us on course.
Yes.
It's not about
but you wanted to.
I just wanted to respond because he said about the will thing, and he said, what does God will, or what does God want you to do? And I've always said for people to talk about free will in the context of God doesn't make any sense, because there's only one will in the religious sense, and that would be God's will. So if God wanted something, when God was alone and God created everything, being an all-knowing entity, he would know how everything was going to turn out, which would mean it was his will, which would mean he knew Adam and Eve were going to eat the fruit. He knew Lucifer was going to, disobey. He knew all of this, and this was prior to even creating them. So this will of everything being messed up and the fruit being eaten would actually be God's will. It wouldn't be ours.
No, but then, if you go by the teachers, not just Christianity alone, Muslims as well will say that Islam is a peaceful religion, and within religion, especially the Christian religion, which I'm more familiar with, they encourage people to do good. People to go out there to help one another. Is there anything wrong with that? Because it seems as though that with what you're saying,
like I said, the moral. I said you can take moral and philosophical teachings from this book. It doesn't. That's cool. But I said to actually take the literal teaching. I said at the beginning of the show, take the literal teaching is the wrong way to go.
All right, let's take. Okay, the caller couldn't hang on. Keep your thoughts and comments coming on our Facebook page. We do our best to read them. Go onto our Facebook page, Talk Africa, or GNTV UK. All right, to leave your thoughts and comments. The caller is back on. Hello, good morning. Okay, all right. I think we're having a problem with that line. So try this line is 0203 735 8820 or 0203 286 0185. Right. 0203 286 0185.
Can I pass a comment based on the last caller comment that came on Facebook? Yes, I think it's very important that you allow people to decide on what they want to believe in. There is no element of compulsion there. I don't see anywhere in my Bible that causes me to impose my faith on others or what I believe in on others. And so people are free, like my friend here is free to believe in whatever he believes in, just as I am free to believe in whatever I believe in. But then the most important thing, or our point of departure, is having the freedom to believe in what you want to believe in does not also stop me from sharing or telling you about what I believe in, just as he's doing. That is called a healthy dialogue.
Yeah.
And in interreligious dialogue, people of other faith may choose to share what they believe in with others.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Tide. I'm calling from Telford.
What's your name again?
Theodora.
Theodora. Okay, Theodora, thank you for calling. What would you like to say?
First of all, I appreciate your number coming on the screen because I've been waiting for it and I couldn't get it, even though you say it. It's quite fast, so I couldn't get it. But thankfully, the numbers came on the screen and I was able to pick it. Anyway, we're talking about faith and whether it's important in the lives of us as now in the modern age. I would say emphatically yes, it is. Faith is very important. Now, there are three different kinds of things we're talking about. Are we talking about religion? Are we talking about faith? Or we are talking about Christianity? Because the two gentlemen who are on the show, one is a panacist and the other one is a Christian. And in the first place, when we talk about religion, it is man's ability, in my opinion, to make reason of things that are spiritual. Faith is man's dependency on your spirituality or your dependency on something which is supernatural to help you achieve your things in a daily living. And the Christianity, I know, is a way of life where Jesus has washed you with the blood has washed you with the blood, and now you are free to live your life in the will and accordance of God's purpose for your life. Now, religion is not necessarily important in our lives now, because religion is a root cause of a lot of situations, a lot of evil things happening. The fact that people take the doctrine, and it could be Catholicism, it could be Islamic, anything at all. If you take hold of the doctrine, and the doctrine says not to do this, and you get that, all that systematic things that are ingrained in the brain and makes a person to judge other people and probably even go to the extent of killing them or disqualifying them of the ability to go into any life after death. I find it's wrong. Now, our faith...
Quickly, just for time's sake, quickly. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, just wrap up for me quickly.
All right. Our faith is, if you have a faith in something, it's just something that helps you. People have faith in a handkerchief, in a pant, in a place, in Jesus, in Muhammad, in a lot of different places. So to be honest with you, it's a big topic, and I think that every human being needs to hold on to something, be it a faith or be it your what do you call it, anything at all, but we all inevitably have something we hold on to. Now, you cannot believe, I'm sorry, you cannot believe in everything.
Okay, all right. That's from Theodora there. She was going on about you cannot believe in everything, but we had to, end it there because of time reasons. Let me read a few messages on our Facebook page. Erica is saying that religion is okay, I guess, if it's not imposing lies as if it's all-knowing and has the only way. Saha Abraham is saying that I'm a Jew. The God did not give that doctrine and ideologies that the second major religion are teaching. Okay. This is from Candy. Candy is also saying, OMG, the last caller is so correct. All right, keep your thoughts coming in if you want to call in. Soon we'll be wrapping up. If you want to call in, is 0203-286-0185 or 0203-735-8820. I think, one text message that we got on there was saying that religion is still very relevant in modern day society. We cannot overlook of the work that religion or religious faith try to do within the community. You're saying that it is not relevant, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not said it's not relevant. I said,
but you're just against the teachings. Is that what you're against?
The literal teachings of the religion that do not make sense.
But you see, that's where I don't want us to skew the conversation towards, because we're not here to justify anybody's faith. neither are we here to condemn anybody's faith.
No,
we're talking about how relevant
but then
it is.
We cannot separate the two because they both are intertwined.
They're not. Because if you're talking about the relevance of religion to the society as of today, yes, I think it's relevant. He thinks it's relevant. And then we can look at what makes it relevant. And then you can talk about the social dimension, the political dimension. You can talk about all the benefits that...
Without religion, would people do good? Yes, they would. Okay, so you don't need religion to do good.
I cannot...
Right? You know? So what I'm trying to say is that some people say, oh, well, look at the good religion has done. And I'm saying people were doing good and can do good without religion. You can have secular societies doing good. You can have atheist societies doing good. You can do good without religion. I'm saying to you, or what I'm saying, it's relevant in the sense that you can take some philosophical or metaphorical teachings from them. However, it is not relevant in the fact that, quote unquote, for me, Jesus is coming back to save the world. No, it's not relevant in that sense, wherever it will be relevant by taking some kind of moral teaching from there.
Okay.
Well, I mean, my last word is I think is very relevant, and it's I cannot imagine the society, both historically and at present, without the influence and the impact of religious communities. I think it's very relevant, and I think, speaking from the perspective of a Christian, I think that it's extremely important that we find the ultimate reality to believe in. And to have a sense of direction for our lives, which will bring a lot of good to our society.
Okay, this is from Mimi saying society blame terrorism on Islam. There is a misconception that Muslims are somehow all terrorists in one way or the other. But when we have heard of atheists who have been involved with terrorism and is never called terrorism. I think, well, that's a point from Mimi there, because we're quick to blame, well, society is quick to blame religion. If everything on religion. If somebody does something and they claim to show their faith, we're quick to just paint them.
But talking in terms of, I know times are on our side, but talking in terms of colonialism even, I mean, we condemn the Christian faith for all the evil things that happen in terms of slavery, but then there is also the good side. We forget about the development, the education, the health, and it's a big topic, I would say, but I think we need to continue this on another day.
Okay, and finally from you.
Responding to that, if an atheist does do a terrorist act, they don't necessarily do it in the name of terrorism. Oh, sorry, in the name of atheism, which is why people say, because people actually scream in the name of Allah, when they do their terrorist act. An atheist that doesn't terrorist act doesn't scream in the name of atheism. Right, so they do their terrorist act, but they're not doing it in the name of, which is why I don't think that's a very good analogy.
All right, well, this is part one. Hopefully, I'll speak to the producers. We do we'll have a part two again and delve into the situation a bit more. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. With this is Talk Africa with me, John Zewat. I'd like to say thank you to Reverend Dr. Claude Ham Ejapong and also Sarah Garvey for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much. That's what I'm saying. We can all sit here and have a constructive discussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is what makes it healthy.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do it again. From us in the studio is goodbye. We'll do it again, same place, same time tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Majority of you only pay attention to us after years of unremitting persistence and rejections, whilst we challenge the way it has always been done.
This program is brought to you by Pay Global.
Majority of you only pay attention to us after years of unremitting persistence